alert. We have some breaking news on the alleged terrorist from New Jersey. His father speaking moments ago about his son. Take a listen.
2 years ago, I called the API. My son, he's doing very bad, okay? But they checked it almost 2 months.
Investigation is still going on, guys.
He's okay.
We don't know yet.
He's not a terrorist. I said, okay. Now he say he's a terrorist. I said, okay.
Why did you call the FBI 2 years ago?
Because
what happened?
He's doing bad.
He's doing bad? What did he do bad?
He stopped my son. He hit my wife, and I put him in the jail 2 years ago.
Who's he? What son did he stab?
Last year.
Okay, what happened? Why did he stab him?
That was for no reason. Okay, excuse me, what I'm doing now.
Well, that just into our newsroom, just to set the stage for you. The father was speaking about a domestic dispute that apparently happened in 2014, where there was some sort of fight between Rahami and his brother and his wife, the father's wife. Apparently, that's what we're hearing. And the father said he called the FBI. Now, what we're hearing from the New York Times is that the FBI did open a case on the son. But where it went from here, we're not sure. Steve Rogers is a former member of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. Joins us now as well, a retired lieutenant commander in U.S. Navy Office of Naval Intelligence. Steve, what do you think? What's your reaction to that?
Well, here's some of the problems that the FBI is facing. If there was, in fact, a phone call, and we know there was because there was a case open, the FBI needs a lot of corroborating information and intelligence before they actually pursue a long-term investigation on someone. Jen, I could tell you they get thousands of calls like this. But there is an intelligence gap, and that gap is simply this. What the FBI needs to do is begin to share critical information like that with local police. Now, in New York City and the larger cities, it's being done. But in smaller communities, it's not being done. The local cop on the beat knows the who, what, when, where, and why in his neighborhood. And I could tell you if that information was given to local police, they could have their local intelligence units watch these people for a while.
And you have a feeling it wasn't shared?
Well, yeah, I don't believe for 1 minute that critical information is actually shared with the street cops. I know there's a regional joint terrorism task forces. I know they'll send down some information. But you ask any local cop on the street patrolling his neighborhood, he don't have a clue. He does not have a clue. Now, I know that there's a lot of concern about, well, a lot of this information is sensitive and secret and classified. But there is a way that you could declassify some of this material to have local police departments look into this.
Of course, we know there were disputes with the local police department that included the whole family that was the owner of this restaurant in Elizabeth, New Jersey. You're familiar with New Jersey, of course, having worked there for so many years. I was speaking to a law enforcement expert yesterday who said New Jersey is a key spot for terror, has been since the 1970s. Why is that? Well, you know, look, we're close to the airports, we're close to the seaports. It's an easy way to get into New Jersey. But on the good side of it is, I could tell you, in New Jersey, what the governor has done and what a lot of law enforcement agencies have done through these national and local, county terrorism task forces, they keep an eye on a lot of things. And let me add this alert we got yesterday, this is all new. This is very significant and will help us win the war against terrorism. It is interesting to note that if the FBI was flagged to the son by the father in 2014, that does lead to certain questions and doesn't take anything away from the good law enforcement work over the last 48, 72 hours, but does lead to some questions as to how we flag individuals, but yet they go on to commit acts, and that we can't stop it before it happens. And I know there are some cases that we do, but obviously some get through. But unfortunately, it's manpower intensive, it's money. But like I said, let's start sharing that critical information with the local cops. They know what's going on in their neighborhoods. It is interesting to note as well the technology that's involved in trying to track down this terrorist, the alleged terrorist, of course, as he's going to be charged. But at the end, it was a fingerprint. It was old-fashioned police work that eventually led the connection to this individual. Talk to us a little bit about that, because we can't forget just some of the basics that lead to this. You got good police work. It was a fingerprint that led to the connections. But I've got to tell you, you have said it, and I have said it, and we've all said it. If you see something, say something. When that bolo, that's the picture that went out. Be on the lookout for went out, and people saw that picture. It was a phone call, and it was a local cop. I go back to that situation. A Linden police officer who saw this guy, knew who he was, and took control of the situation. That was on the front line. Steve, great to have you in the program as always. Thank you. Thank you. Eric?
Jenna, the weekend terrorist